What's the worst physical pain you ever felt? Ovarian torsion from a giant cyst worse than a broken neck and childbirth. Obsessed tooth. But wait. Let me finish. Obsessed tooth after the dentist removed the wrong tooth. The one next to the obsessed tooth. On the way home when the local wore off. Pilonidal cyst. Right on your tailbone. From snowboarding and then having to sit on a 4-hour flight. Doesn't sound like much. But if you've had one, sitting upright was hell. Gout. I thought lovingly about removing my foot with a hacksaw. Testicular torsion. I was 17 and didn't know what it was. Thought it might be blue balls? So waited until it was the size of a grapefruit and in excruciating pain and had mom take me to the Half my testicle was dead, but I got a Demerol drip and all was good after that. But oh boy, that pain was significantly worse than the kidney stones. Edit. Wow. Didn't realize there were so many members of the Twisted Nut Club. Like I said, mine happened at 17 and wasn't addressed until day 3. At that point I couldn't sit down or drive due to the massive nut that was preventing me from closing my legs. Anyhow, much of the tissue, organ, was not savable, so the surgeon had to remove a fair amount. Now I've got some testicle left and also a whole bunch of scar tissue. It's gross and I had low sperm count for a while. But now I've got 2 kids, a man shrugging. Good thing is when they opened me up the doc said he'd lasso the other testicle. My right one in this case. To the side so it wouldn't face the same fate as the dead left nut. But guess what? 2 years later I woke up one morning and felt a familiar pain. I was boarding a plane that morning, but I knew WTF was going on, so I called ahead and had it operated on later that day. I probably should have sued the original surgeon for testicular negligence, but I never pursued it. Meh. Years later. About 10 years ago now. My wife and I headed down the coast so I could race a 50K in slow. Woke up what I thought were butterflies and went through the whole process. Ended up barfing and passing out, and my wife drove me, gingerly but still painfully, to the where they looked at me and said, "Well, he's either in labor or he has a kidney stone." Yep. A hefty 3mm stone lodged in my ureter. That shit was painful, but still nothing compared to the twisted nut. Edit 2 typus. Kidney stones and it's not close. Edit. Hijacking my own comment because people are asking about prevention. Drink more water than you do now. Just hydrate. 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 What is the worst fast food restaurant? Sonic in Rexburg, Idaho. Don't believe me? Go there. Hate to say because I love their food, but Sonic. The 2 places nearest me either have the most inept employees or have one person working the entire store. Generally am not a fast food fan, but Sonic sometimes hits the spot. Boston Market was one of the fastest growing fast food chain due to their rotisserie chicken offering. Then they changed their menu since other companies like Costco started to offer rotisserie chicken. And they felt threatened. The move to a stereotypical thin margin fast food offering coupled with large footprint locations meant they were losing money hand over fist. Their extremely successful marketing campaigns only made it worse. This led to the fastest contraction of fast food locations at the time ever, therefore placing it in my mind as the worst fast food restaurant. Tim Hortons. The food quality, service and pretty much everything else has gone significantly downhill over the last decade. My Canada homies will agree. Panera Bread. I say this as a former employee who until recently still went there often. I just can't do it anymore. All of their food used to be quality. Now it's shit. Their prices were always high. And now they're just stealing. The service is terrible now as well. The last 3 times I ordered there, they forgot something in my order. Edit. Just realized my last post was a homemade Frontega sandwich lol. When I was younger, KFC seemed to taste fantastic. I've since been a few times lately, and every time I've regretted my decision. Defo the worst fast food for me, I'm afraid. Those who have got caught watching porn as kids, how did your parents find out? Downloaded the video, and that was the only day I didn't check the downloads folder on my mother's phone because I was too tired post-nut. In the morning she checked the folder to find some teaching material to prepare for her class that day and was greeted by a very unpleasant sight of vacuum cleaner salesman porn. Needless to say, it was a long morning. I printed out photos to reference later. Only computer was in the family room. After they finished, I turned off the printer and secured my stack of materials. I felt I had gotten away with the perfect crime. Until my mom went to use the computer and a photo started printing that had gotten stuck in the queue. Not porn, but I was playing this beach volleyball game online one time, and if you got so many points ahead of the computer, the girls' tops would come off. I had been trying for weeks to get far enough ahead for them to go topless. Finally did it one night, and I kid you not, 60 seconds after unlocking Boobus, my mom walks in to tell me to get off the internet so she can make a phone call. Embarrassed and defeated, I tried to play it off like I didn't know that would happen. She didn't buy it. I found my dad's VHS collection when I was a teen. One time I forgot to put one of the tapes back. Actually, I specifically recall the movie was Trampire. Anyhow, my dad comes into my room a few days later and says, "If you borrow my shit, put it back where you found it. We're never discussing this again." Used mom's phone. Didn't know about browsing history. I never got caught when I was intentionally looking at porn. Thankfully. The one time I did get caught, I clicked some random element of a web page that proceeded to open 20 windows of porn sites featuring women with big breasts. My dad walked into the room just as I shut off the screen. I told him it was unintentional, but he looked at every window as he closed them for me. I must have looked like a total perv when really I just stumbled into a pornado. What's the most underwhelming way you've gotten a scar? My dad told me that he was bringing me home a chocolate bar. I danced about it, tripped, and cut my face on a door frame. I took a pair of safety scissors to my wrist because 4-year-old me wanted to know how safe they really were. Tried untying a knot with a fork. I was attacked by a chicken. Scratching a mosquito bite too hard. Burned myself in the oven making a pizza. What is the dumbest thing you've ever heard someone say? Well, she never got pregnant before, after his GF got pregnant, and after asking my friend why didn't he use protection. Someone in our group lost a flip-flop in a river. We watched it float downstream. Another person in our group said to be patient because it'll eventually do a full loop and come back. That there's no difference between turkey and ham because they both come from birds. I guess pigs really do fly in their world. My chiropractor can cure autism with his bare hands and some essential oils. Too bad her chiropractor couldn't cure stupid. I was microwaving some food. I hit the one so it would automatically cook it off a minute. My friend asked, "Why did you put it in for a minute?" I usually put mine in for 60 seconds. I had to explain to him that it's the same thing. We were in high school. This involves a conversation with a guy the first used to work with who was trying to lose weight, so he was cutting down on pasta. Him. I've been doing pretty good. Haven't had pasta in 2 weeks. Me. That's awesome. What's that you got in your hand there? Him. Mac and cheese. Me. I thought you said you haven't had pasta in 2 weeks? Him. I haven't. This is mac and cheese. What are the games you have spent 1,000 plus hours on? All the Total Wars, but most hours on original Rome Total War. Team Fortress 2, been paying the MF game for 7.5 years. RuneScape. Civ 5. Sims 4 has 5,000 hours almost, and Animal Crossing, just. Skyrim. Subscribe, my brothers.